Hey everyone, One Spittin' here. So here's our rematch of the game I just played. This is Beastlords versus Empire of Sonnstahl. My opponent and I had time for a couple games on a Sunday, so we played the first game and it came out to a draw. So we said, hey, let's shuffle the board and play again. So that's what we did. The only changes in his list, his marshal on the Great Griffin. Now he has the mace that you can exchange all of your attacks for one attack that's strength 10, does auto, let's see, strength 10 and does ordnance number of wounds. So for somebody with only 3 attacks to begin with, that's actually a pretty fair trade and really changes how, as an opponent, how I think about that guy. So I think that one little change makes his list stronger. So I'm ambushing with two 20-man units of Wildhorns and a unit of Feral Hounds. He's got a unit of Knights of the Sun Griffin, 2 cannons on the hill, a steam tank behind it, a unit of halberdiers, so heavy infantry, seasoned veterans. His prelate on an altar of battle. He's got his marshal on the seasoned general on a great griffin. And he's got 20 handgunners who are also seasoned veterans, and they've got an artificer with them. There's a volley gun. His battle standard bearer is in with a 20 Imperial Guard. I'm using my old Games Workshop great swords, so they're all they have great weapons, but actually they have just sword and board. And then 3 more Knights of the Sun Griffin, and then on the other side of the forest he has his 7 electoral cavalry. I scouted 10 Mongrel Raiders in the far top left corner because that's what they needed to be to get 18 inches away from his cavalry. Now I'm just hiding behind this hill and building. I've got my Centaur Chieftain behind the building, all my Minotaurs, 7 Minotaurs behind the hill, my 2 Gortach behind the hill, my Spellcaster behind the hill, and my Longhorns with my General Beastlord and my Battle Standard Bearer. The cannons can hit him, but if he gives extra range to his volley gun, it probably can hit him too. But at least I think he'll be getting +2 cover. So I'm like, yeah, if you want to shoot these guys, knock yourself out. So I have a couple of chariots, and in hindsight, I don't like where I deployed them because I know that his with his artificer and with his general, he can get 30-inch range with that volley gun. So really, I should have deployed 6 inches back, so he can shoot him with his cannons, but at least not with his organ gun. Got Gargoyles way over here. I'm not really worried too much about the cannons. I'd love for him to shoot at these guys with his cannons. His organ gun could cause some problems. So we go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 1. Obviously, he deployed first, and I was able to deploy in response. So my concern was I knew I was a long way away from him, and if he just sits back, backs up, and shoots at me, he's going to be able to get small points, and my fear is, can I get to him in time to trade out the small points for bigger points? But the fact of the matter is, I don't know what my options are. I'm going to be ambushing with units that can at least put pressure on his war machines. But apart from that, what are we going to do? You know, I mean, if I go up there, he's just going to... A cannon can hit 4 Minotaurs. So he could be killing Gortach. He can be cutting my Minotaur unit in half. He'll have 2, if not 3 rounds of shooting. I don't know what to do besides just hide for a turn or 2 and then just rush on him as fast as I can. So he starts off and he kills a chariot and he puts wounds on another chariot and then he kills another chariot. And if I'd gone 6 inches back, I think he still would have killed one and done wounds to another. So I'm not sure how much it hurt me. We go to Beastlord's turn 1. Both of my Wildhorns units ambushed, so that was very nice. I move my Feral Hounds up. I know he can kill them pretty easily, but if you're shooting at them, you're not shooting at somebody else. I don't feel the need to redirect too much this game, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's go back one. If you look on the hill where you see my 2 models, basically the whole unit's there, but it just won't fit with the hill. There's things that stick up on the hill, and it wouldn't balance. And you can see my Minotaurs, my Gortach there. I choose just to let them hide behind the hill. So there's the guys coming on the right. This is the unit I'm most optimistic about. I don't think my opponent can do anything from keeping me from charging 1 cannon. Now that cannon misfired on turn 1 and can't shoot the rest of the game. So charging it doesn't do me a whole lot of good, except that then I can overrun into his second cannon. And so at least I have that going for me. This other unit, I could have taken him just anywhere else on the board and saved those points. I think what I was thinking was, with them here, it forces his steam tank to charge them instead of getting in position to then charge my other unit. And the other unit, I kind of like what their options were. If a steam tank charges, he's going to win, and I'll be steadfast on a 7. And after he charges in, he's only doing maybe 3 or 4 wounds a turn. So, he'll probably win. I don't know. I might hold him up for a little bit. So we go to the shooting phase. The unit on the right shoots over one cannon onto the other. Even with a -2 cover, I still do a wound to it, which doesn't really mean much, but hey, it's better than nothing. This other ambushing unit puts 2 wounds on the volley gun. That's probably more than I should have done. If I could have come on 10 by 2, I might have been able to kill the thing, but there's just no room for it. With 1 wound left, it doesn't mean anything. He can still do everything he could do otherwise. But I tried. So Empire of Sonnstahl turn 2. Overall, it looks like this. You can see he's moving up a little bit. For the most part, he's just using his Knights of the Sun Griffin as chaff to slow down my main unit. His steam tank barrels into this ambushing unit. This other unit, the Knights of the Sun Griffin, just absolutely ignore my Gargoyles. I told him to. I was like, my Gargoyles, they charge you, you're just going to crush them, so just do whatever you want. Organ gun, or the volley gun, opens up on the unit of Feral Hounds, kills 4 out of 5. And a cannon opens up on my Centaur Chieftain, and of course kills him. Now what my opponent's doing here, we're at the far left side of the board, and I have the speed totem up on my Minotaurs, and so I can make a charge into the flank of his knights actually pretty easily. And it was so what he wanted me to do was to charge him, win, and overrun, and just be out of position for a while. I was sorely tempted to do it, and in hindsight, I'm not sure it would have been a bad move. I mean, I probably would have killed the unit. If I didn't kill him, I would have certainly beaten him in combat. They may have fled off the board. I may have caught him. And then, I still have turn 3 to wheel him around, and turn 4, I'm probably in charge range. So, I don't know. But he was trying to tempt me to do that. Steam Tank wins combat. I'm steadfast on a 7, and my guys fail it because they suck. And we go to Beastlord's turn 2. So at this point, I'm like, all right, you've got one. I'm charging 1 cannon. I expect to overrun to the second cannon, so your cannon should be gone. You've still got an organ gun. I'm willing to take my chances. So overall, it looks like this. He's chaffing me up, so I'm just going to charge him. My plan is, I know I'm going to beat him in combat, and then I'm just going to restrain and reform to face his main lines. These guys will flee. They'll probably be behind my lines, and I'm choosing just to ignore them. There's that. And the Gargoyles tried to charge a second cannon just because it opened up options for me. If the Gargoyles can charge the second cannon, then when my Wildhorns beat the first cannon, instead of overrunning, I can reform and just threaten different things. Well, I needed a 6 on Swift Stride, and they just couldn't do it. Not the end of the world, but not optimal. We go to the magic phase. I use a Chariot of Mist. I've got a level 2 Lord Path of Shadow, and so I pick up my Minotaur unit and move it closer to the enemy's lines. I use the lore attribute to move my Gortach a couple inches. After combat, yeah, we easily kill the one Chariot cannon. Overrun into the second cannon. Easily beat the Demigryphs. I only killed one of them, which I thought was kind of disappointing, but whatever. They broke. I reformed and turned towards the main line. So we go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 3. So at this point, my opponent decided just to go ahead and move up towards me a little bit with his infantry. He plans on shooting me a little bit and then inviting me to come in to combat. And then relying on buffs and synergies and stuff like that. Personally, I kind of liked it. If he had held back, he didn't really have a whole lot of places to go, and I think I might have been able to make some charges anyway. Anyway, so he opens up shooting and does a bunch of wounds to the Minotaurs. And after combat, so it's always nice to overrun and get in combat. You're going to win on your opponent's turn because now my Wildhorns kill the second cannon. My opponent moved his steam tank up, so he's blocking to where my Wildhorns cannot charge the volley gun, and that's a shame. I would have loved to have charged it. So I reformed such that I can charge either his Knights of the Sun Griffin, his Halberdiers, or his Prelate on the altar of battle. I just wanted to give myself options. Then we go to Beastlord's turn 3. So one thing I was really happy to see was I just hid behind a hill all the way across the table for 2 turns with my Minotaurs. And on the 3rd turn, I'm in combat. Now, I had a magic spell which was able to move them up, and then my opponent moved towards me a little bit. But I was really happy with that. And I didn't need to be in combat turn 3. I think even turn 4 I would have been happy with. So overall, I was happy with my decision to just be patient. Oh, okay, I'm going to go back one. So one weird thing that happened. So I charged my Longhorns and my Minotaurs into his Halberdier unit. Really surprised my opponent. Because he was lined up against me, he just kind of assumed that I was going to charge straight ahead, and of course, why do that? So I tag-teamed this unit on the right because with my Longhorns on the right having more ranks, when we win, and I'm certain we're going to overrun or pursue right towards the Prelate on the altar of battle. And I should get my Longhorns in its flank, my Minotaurs in its front, and roll down his lines that way. I'm very happy about it. The plan, because my Gortachs couldn't fit into that combat, I tried to restrain Frenzy and just walk around with them. Well, the one on the left failed his Frenzy test, and he had to charge the Imperial Guard with his Battle Standard Bearer. And then they failed their Terror test on Leadership 9 rerollable and did that. So it was kind of funny because I didn't want to make that charge anyway, but you guys were 9 rerollable and they failed it. So yeah, that is certainly not good for the Empire of Sonnstahl. Meanwhile, on the hill, the cannon killers charged the flank of the Knights of the Sun Griffin. I should beat them just through combat res. Here's this charge. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm just going to wreak havoc on that unit. After combat here, yeah, I got +1 attack and armor piercing 2 off on this unit, and I still couldn't kill the guy. I don't know if I did any wounds or not, to be honest. But he fluffed his attacks. He only had 4 total. I won and couldn't run him. I pursued, couldn't run him down. After combat, yeah, the Halberdiers just by the time they swung, there just weren't that many left of them, and yeah, they were obliterated. I think he had 2 guys remaining, and we pursued, and my general's unit rolled a 2, a 3, whatever it was. They didn't roll enough to get into that altar battle. My Minotaurs did, but should be good enough for them. And we go to Empire of Sonnstahl, turn 4. So a couple interesting things happening here. I like where I'm at, no doubt about it. But at the same time, the Empire's not out. So here at the top, his Marshal on his Great Griffin comes charging into the flank of my Minotaurs. That is not ideal. These guys rally. Now, charging them to the flank, charging down a hill, hey, I can beat you through static combat res. Charging in their front, that's a whole different story. So now I'm not loving how this looks. And here in the back, remember the unit of Knights of the Sun Griffin that I beat in combat and then ignored? Well, both these units got to charge my second Gortach. And I'm really nervous about this. I think odds are he does 5 wounds to me. And when I only have 6 wounds, I don't like those odds. What I really need to do is roll some 6s to wound and grow some wounds back. After the charge, these guys are low strength. All my attacks are going to go against the Knights of the Sun Griffin because their mounts are the only thing I fear after this initial round of combat. So really interested to see how that's going to turn out. He shoots at my Gargoyles. They were primed to charge his volley gun. He shoots at him, kills a bunch. I think there's 1 guy left. He fails. His panic runs off the board. His handgunners do a swift reform and shoot at my Mongrels, kill enough, they fail their panic. And after combat, I kill 1 Knight of the Sun Griffin. Overall, he does 4 wounds to me. So I don't know the math exactly. I think the math is he should have done 5, so he did 1 less than he should have. Yeah, I really could have used a 6. I really could have used to get some wounds back, but With the exception of that one Knight of the Sun Griffin, everybody else is strength 3. They're needing 6s to wound. I think it's going to be tough for him to get a couple wounds. My biggest fear is when we go into combat next time, his mount is going to attack at initiative 4 with 3 attacks. He's hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s. Out of 3 attacks, I just need him to do 1 or less, and he really should. Then after that, I get 6 attacks, re-rolling to hit probably, and then I need a 6 to wound. Once I start regrowing wounds, I'm just gonna crush these guys. So happy about that. I put all my attacks into the Altar of Battle. We kill it, and then we reform. So we made a mistake here. During the fight, we forgot to have his Great Griffin fight. So when we thought the battle was over, we had won by 1. He stuck, and then we reformed. After my movement phase, then we realized that. So we went back and rolled it. He did 2 wounds. So then we realized that not I didn't win, he won by 1. But because I'd already moved all my troops, we said, let's just say that my guys stuck and reformed. It was the cleanest way to do it. So the prelate on the altar battle is dead, and it's just 2 Minotaurs against this marshal on the Great Griffin. So we go to Beast Herd's turn 4. So the Longhorns, with my general and battle standard bearer, charge the flank of the steam tank. The Gortach charges its front. I was tempted to take the Gortach and go redirect the Knights of the Sun Griffin and save my ambushing unit of Wildhorns, and then I was like, why throw good money after bad? Steam tanks are still, even though they've been reduced a lot, they're still tough to kill. So I put everything I had into the guy. Let's kill him, and then reform with the main unit, overrun with the Gortach, and be all up in my opponent's business. And then we go here. That stupid mount. He had 3 attacks. He needed to. He hit on 4s. He rolled 2 4s or higher. He hit twice. And then he's wounding on 5s, and he rolls 2 6s and kills my Gortach before I could swing. Darn it. Darn it. He reforms like that. My opponent named him the Giant Bane, even though it was a Gortach, not a giant, whatever. After combat here, even with everything I had, I could only do 6 wounds out of 7 on the steam tank. I think I'm okay with that. It actually works to my benefit because now my opponent can't shoot at me on his turn, and on his turn I should take the final wound off of it, reform, and charge whatever I want on my turn. So that's probably the best thing that could have happened there. We go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 5. Overall, it looks like that. Top left, his knights charge my mongrels. I don't care. Let's see. His handgunners are reforming. Not a whole lot to shoot at. His general comes around to threaten rear charges later. And I decide just to go ahead and throw these guys in there. We go to the magic phase. My opponent's worried about other combats, so he allowed me to get the Blooded Horn totem off on these guys. Their champion has it. So with the Blooded Horn totem, it's still tough. I still roll 5s to wound. That's going to, I might reroll to hit. I might not. I'm going to take 5s to wound, and then my opponent's armor save is going to go from 2 up to a 4 up. So I'm not going to do a lot of wounds to these guys, but at least it's probably the best chance I have to do anything to them. Meanwhile, his Imperial Guard with his battle standard bearer decide to get back in the fight. They charge the flank of my general's unit. That looks really bad, but in truth, no matter how many wounds he does, my guys are going to be, they have bodyguard Beastlord, so I'm going to be stubborn 10 rerollable unless they kill my BSB. My opponent issues a challenge with his champion. I accept my BSB, so my BSB is safe. My general's safe. Actually, it looks bad, but it's going to be okay. There's that. I don't know what I'm showing here. There's Feral Hounds doing something. I think he shot the Feral Hounds and is only able to do 1 wound. After combat, his Knights of the Sun Griffin totally whiffed against my Wildhorns. I beat him in combat. For the second time, I can't catch him, but this is Empire's turn. So I can charge him on my turn and get rid of him. So over here, we easily take the last wound off the steam tank. I easily pass my break test. I reform, and now I'm very confident with what I can do there. I reform my Gortach because he didn't charge in. I didn't have to overrun. I reform him so he can get moved right past my unit and then charge that volley gun, and he can hit them such that after he kills it, he can overrun and has a chance of hitting his handgunners, which would be nice. Go to Beastlord's turn 5. That's exactly what I do. If you look at the bottom right, I charge his Knights of Sun Griffin. They go off the table. I reform that unit. So those guys. Wait, those guys. I'm pretty happy with what they've done this game. Gortach charges that. You can see I'm just touching it, and then I overrun. I need a decent overrun to hit those handgunners. After combat, yeah, the Imperial Guard just get demolished. I don't know if they ran off the board or if I killed them all or what. I must have just chased them off the board. After we killed the volley gun, the handgunners failed their panic test and ran off the board, so the Gortach didn't even have to do anything with them. So we go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 6. He doesn't have really anything left. He's got his knights in the top left that are too far away to do anything. He's got his general, which I don't know if he could see or not, but he was reluctant to put his general into anything because I think no good really could have come of it. But he takes Giant's Bane, who killed the last Gortach, and throws him into the flank of this Gortach. Look at that top middle. That he's getting cocky. Here's his general just hiding out. I want to say, by the way, I think my general's unit might still be in combat. I think they just have just a few guys left of the Imperial Guard. There's that, and get out of here, child. Please. And then after combat, so I think I could have killed the last of the Imperial Guard, reformed, and charged his general on my turn, and for whatever reason, either I couldn't do it or decided not to do it. I think we get in there, and if he just with the weapon on the marshal, I just didn't want to take the chance of something wonky happening and throwing away points, so I just let the game end right there. So that was a bloody game. Because I have all my characters left and an expensive unit of Wildhorns, I'm sure it's a modest victory for the Beastherds. Only because the Empire of Sonnstahl only has a unit of knights and his general left. So I'm sure I have more points on the table, but I lost a lot as well. Anyway, that was a good. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.